If you'd told me at my wedding that the thing to nearly destroy my marriage would cost $3 at a pharmacy and fit in the palm of my hand, I would have laughed. I am not laughing now. Well, mostly not. It started with me standing in my own kitchen at 11:30 on a Tuesday night, holding a bottle of men's lubricant that absolutely, categorically, 100% did not belong to me, while my wife slept peacefully upstairs, apparently unbothered by the small grenade she'd accidentally left in her handbag. Welcome back to Dad's True Revenge. Grab your snacks, get comfortable, and remember, the people in these stories had every chance to behave themselves. They just chose wrong. Drop a comment and be sure to subscribe. You're going to love it here. I'd been looking for the spare car keys. That's it. That's the whole origin story. Not jealousy, not suspicion, not a gut feeling or a sudden revelation or a sign from God. Just car keys. Because mine had fallen between the couch cushions, and I had an early meeting with a parent at Eastfield High who I was already dreading. I reached into Kimberly's brown leather bag on the kitchen counter, the one she always left there, and my hand found chapstick, her work ID, a pack of Tic Tacs, the keys I was looking for, and a matte black bottle with minimalist font that said, in the kind of tone that only typography can achieve, that it was absolutely not a woman's product. I stood there for 10 seconds, maybe 15. The refrigerator hummed. The clock above the stove ticked. I turned the bottle over in my hand like I was a detective examining evidence, which, as it would turn out, was precisely what I was doing, just without any of the training, the badge, or the faintest idea of what I was actually holding. Don't overreact, Nolan, said the reasonable part of my brain. Name one explanation, said the other part. The part that had apparently been quietly filing things away for 2 years, like a very patient, very paranoid accountant. I couldn't name one, so I put the bottle back exactly where I found it, went to the garage, retrieved the superglue from the third shelf behind the paint thinner, came back inside, and made the swap with the careful precision of a man who had watched too many heist movies and was now deeply regretting not having paid more attention to the part where everything goes wrong. Did I think it through? I thought it through for approximately 4 seconds, and the sum total of my deliberation was, whoever is on the other end of this little situation is about to have a very uncomfortable evening, and I am going to know about it without having to say a single word. Petty? Absolutely. Satisfying? In the moment? Completely. Catastrophically? Federally? Internationally stupid? I had no idea. None whatsoever. I made pasta, went to bed, and slept like a man with a clean conscience, which is the specific kind of sleep that the universe reserves for people who are about to be proven deeply, irreversibly wrong. Let me tell you about Kimberly before I tell you what happened next, because she deserves that, and because none of this makes sense without her. Kimberly McCain was the kind of woman who made you feel like you'd been doing everything in your life at about 60% capacity. Not in a cruel way. In the way that made you want to run the extra mile, read the extra chapter, be the better version of yourself, because she was looking and her standards were quietly, devastatingly high. She was sharp and measured and funny in that particular way where the joke lands 3 seconds after she's already moved on, and you're still standing there laughing while she's reading something on her phone. We met at a professional development conference I had not wanted to attend, over coffee that tasted like it had been brewed sometime in the previous decade. She made a remark about the keynote speaker that was so precisely, surgically accurate that I laughed louder than I'd intended, and she looked at me with an expression that said she'd been waiting for someone to get it. That was 11 years ago. I'd been falling ever since. She worked at the Harwick District Courthouse as a legal compliance officer. Long hours, complicated cases, documentation she couldn't discuss, a work phone she kept separate from her personal one. I respected it. I was a history teacher. I spent my days explaining the Missouri Compromise to 16-year-olds who would rather be doing literally anything else. Her work sounded important. I never pushed. What I understand now is that she had been counting on exactly that. But there had been things. Small things. The laptop she angled away whenever I walked past. The calls she took in the garage at odd hours. Voice low, words clipped. The way she sometimes looked at me across the dinner table with an expression I could never quite read. Something between love and guilt, and a third thing I didn't have language for yet. I had filed all of it under "she's stressed at work" and kept moving. Because that's what you do when you trust someone completely. You choose not to see. I had been choosing not to see for 2 years. The bottle ended that arrangement. Day 1, after the swap, nothing. Kimberly came home at 7, kissed me on the cheek, made tea, asked about my day, ate dinner, watched television with her feet tucked under her on the couch. Normal. Completely infuriatingly normal. Day 2. Also nothing. I started to wonder if I was a paranoid idiot who had wasted a Tuesday evening and a perfectly good tube of superglue on a manufactured crisis. Day 2 was the last day of my old life. I just didn't know it yet. Ralph Lewis caught me in the hallway outside room 114 on day 2 morning, 3 minutes before first bell. Ralph taught biology 2 doors down, had the energy of a man who had consumed an entire pot of coffee and was looking for somewhere to put it, and possessed the social awareness of a golden retriever, which is to say, absolutely none, deployed with tremendous warmth. He stopped, pointed at my face, and said, "Something's wrong with you." "Good morning, Ralph." "No, I'm serious. You've got a look." "I don't have a look." "You absolutely have a look. It's the look where you know something, but you don't know yet if the knowing is good or bad." He tilted his head. "Kimberly okay?" "Kimberly's fine. Go teach something." He pointed at me again, as he backed away down the hallway, still pointing, still watching, like a man filing evidence. I should have listened to Ralph. Ralph, as it turned out, was the only person in my immediate orbit who was exactly who he said he was. There is something both comforting and deeply depressing about that. Day 3, 3rd period, 11:45 in the morning. I was mid-lecture on the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, which is genuinely one of the most gripping moments in modern history if you tell it correctly. And I was telling it correctly, when Principal Donna Hartwell's voice came over the classroom intercom. "Mr. McCain, could you please come to the main office? There are some people here to see you." 26 juniors looked at me with the specific alertness that teenagers reserve for moments that seem like they might involve someone being in serious trouble. "Pages 140 to 155, I said. "There will be a quiz." There was not going to be a quiz, but the threat bought me 30 seconds of silence, and right then I needed the silence. There were 2 of them in Donna Hartwell's office, both in suits that said federal government, as clearly as if the words had been embroidered on the lapels. Both with the kind of stillness that isn't relaxed, it's trained. Donna herself was standing against the far wall next to her potted fern, wearing the expression of a woman who was very seriously reconsidering her career. The taller one showed me a badge. FBI, Special Agent Roland Briggs, Counterintelligence Division. He had the face of a man who had been delivering bad news professionally for so long that his default expression had permanently reconfigured itself into something that communicated, "Whatever you're about to hear, I've heard worse." "Mr. McCain," he said, "please sit down." "I'll stand." "Please sit down," he said again, exact same tone. Not a suggestion. I sat down. "Are you familiar?" Briggs said, opening a folder with federal evidence protocol regarding the handling of monitored personal items during an active counterintelligence operation. I looked at him. "I teach high school history." "Yes, we're aware of what you teach, Mr. McCain." He didn't look up from the folder. "Are you familiar with the protocol?" "No." He explained it slowly, clearly, and without any dramatic flair, which somehow made it significantly worse. A counterfeiting syndicate. 18 months of federal surveillance. Defense intelligence being moved across state lines inside commercial lubricant bottles. Microfilm. A tracker. A microdot capsule. The handoff. Sadie Cross, the courier, collecting the bottle, noticing the tamper, vanishing within the hour. The primary target going dark. 2 years of operational groundwork gone. He closed the folder. "You did that," he said. The room was very quiet. Donna Hartwell appeared to be studying a point on the wall approximately 6 inches above my head, with extraordinary focus. "I want to ask about my wife," I said. Briggs and his associate exchanged a look. The kind of look that has a full conversation living inside it. "Mr. McCain, don't." My voice came out steadier than I felt. "Don't say my name like that. Don't give me the pause. Just tell me." "Your wife," Briggs said carefully, "has been an employee of the Federal Bureau of Investigation for 9 years. The fern in the corner of Donna Hartwell's office had 1 brown leaf at the bottom. I stared at it for a moment. "She's not a compliance officer," I said. "No." "She never was." "No. 9 years. We had been married for 6. Is she safe?" I asked. Briggs looked at me for a moment, and something shifted in his expression, not warmth exactly. Recognition. The kind a man gets when he realizes the person in front of him isn't going to fall apart. For now, he said. She's been pulled from the field. She's at the Harwick Federal Building. I nodded once. I looked at Donna Hartwell, who appeared to be praying silently, and I said, "Cancel my afternoon classes." I didn't know it yet, but I had just asked to be driven toward the first in a series of revelations that would dismantle every assumption I had ever made about my own life. The second revelation was waiting for me at the Federal Building. The third was buried in a file that an analyst named Priya Anand hadn't found yet. And the fourth, the one that would put me in a rain-soaked parking garage in Clarksville staring at a dead man. That one